There are two types of AGV suppliers out there, the traditional ones and the new kids on the block. Today, we're gonna talk with one of the established companies, and we will learn how they transformed their business from manual vehicles to AGVs and AMRs.
Automation Awakenings, your weekly dose of best practices for logistics automation.
Welcome to the next episode of the Automation Awakenings podcast. And as you can see, again, we have a special episode today because there is an external guest here online with me. And I would like to welcome directly Andreas Schneider, Senior Vice President EMEA for the automation business at the KION Group. Welcome, Andreas Schneider. Hello.
Hello, Oliver.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for your time. And I'm really curious how a traditional logistics equipment provider is dealing with all the new technologies out there. So let's dive into it.
Thank you for doing so. I think you refer to our Linde Material Handling brand, which is a very known brand for now almost 125 years. So, we are a global brand with Linde. So we are present in 100 countries globally, and a very traditional German manufacturer. Of course, in the material handling industry, we are today in automation, and we come from the manual material handling equipment. Of course, automation is for us very important because this is the trend in the future. And this is also something, of course, what finally at a certain point in time will fully replace then also in the warehouses our manual equipment.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about this strategy. And when we think of the Linde Material Handling vision of the future of intralogistics, how do you see that? How will this look like?
Our strategy and vision, on one side, we are, I think we are, as we are very present globally, we are very close to our customers, and that's also something what we want to keep, and that's one of our biggest strengths. Whether it's South America or China or somewhere else, Europe, we are very close to our customers. And I think this is also key in future, especially when it goes towards automation, that we always need to have this proximity to our customers. But of course, the strategy is that we need to keep our DNA, which is actually innovation. And as you may have seen at the Logimat, for example, also with our cooperation with NVIDIA, that we really need to think in the future, because it will change in the upcoming years, also with all the AI technology that is more and more accelerating, that we really need to think beyond what we know today to be successful and keeping our innovation speed, what we had, what's part of us also in the future. And therefore, this is, of course, our major focus now, looking into the warehouses, how we can support our customers in improving their processes and improving on their journey in automation.
Yeah, this case with NVIDIA was truly, one of the highlights of the Logimat, I have to say, where you created the digital twin of the warehouse, including manual and autonomous vehicles. That was really impressive.
And it was actually a small proof of concept we did. Of course, it's not simple now to move in the universe and to create a full digital twin. But we are on the way. And I think also the response we got from different bigger global customers, that everybody is looking into that, because this is something, having this transparency and also the possibility in future that you really improve your processes end to end, and you have the full digital twin in the cloud, what you can analyze, and also then using AI in order to improve all your processes, because it's by far pretty complex to have a full end-to-end warehouse in the digital twin. This will change the processes in the future.
Yeah, I think this is a very special case for Linde because, I mean, you are in the business, in the logistics business already for decades. On the other hand, you are already touching here state-of-the-art, brand new tech. But how do you balance tradition with innovation?
That's actually a good question. The question is always, what's the tradition? Also in the manual material handling business, with our trucks, of course, we keep speed to be innovative because there are new trends and more and more. Also, our customers are asking more for digital and safety solutions around our manual equipment, but also to have really this price performance, the right performance level for our customers, and having also those customized solutions. And there you need to keep also your innovation level. But on the other side, we also need to really look differently, and also there inside the company, totally different skills and mindsets and also strategies are needed to move into the automated world, I would say, into really getting away from everything manual, and then really the automation business and the digital world fully comes together and is not something separate what we were used in the past, that you have your digital tools, you have your manual trucks, and both can live together, but also kind of in parallel. And this is different in future. It's all being integrated fully together.
Okay, yeah, that's very exciting. But if we look now on the last 5 years, what were major changes in industry and tech from your point of view that shaped the logistics industry?
That's a very good question, because the last 5 years were more or less the most turbulent years I think we had in the last 25 years. Generally, we had the trend for globalization, that also our customers, they went more global. And then, of course, due to different reasons, now we are getting, again, we have both globalization and localization. But nevertheless, what we have seen at the beginning was there was a real kick in automation. Everybody was starting to automate, and then it slowed down. But now in the last, let's say in the last 3 years, it's now really getting up to speed again in automation. I think that's a change now we see. We see also so many startups popping up, and especially in the Logimat, there are different halls where you can see hundreds of startup companies. And I think that's now also for customers. It's not easy to oversee who is the right partner. On the other side, generally in the whole area, so also what we see is that our customers get a higher degree in their warehousing in terms of professionalism. They start more, because in the past we had a lot of counterbalance trucks, so the all-round equipment in warehouses, and now everybody's moving for more specialized products, and also jumping from there step by step into the automation world, in the mobile automation world, but sometimes even over jumping this position and immediately in stationary automation solutions. What we can see is the heavy increasing demand on transparency on the material flow, what we touched in the beginning, also with this NVIDIA case, and everybody wants to see really end-to-end the material flow, including the inventories, etc. And on the other side, safety is also becoming more and more a crucial topic, especially when manual trucks, or let's say manual processes, meet automated processes, when both comes together. So that's why exactly also this safety topic is a core one. Overall, from a technology perspective, on one side, of course, we have the trend of electrification. On the other side, we see also the trend now from the beginning, only with the automated guided vehicles, now more to the AMR, to the backload transportations, and then also step by step, of course, from guided to autonomous. And I think that's something that is changing. I'm also not saying that autonomous is always the right one, because you need to be ahead of your processes. If the processes are not working properly, you need autonomous driving vehicles to overcome obstacles. But on the other side, this also creates more and more unstable processes, and inefficiencies. Therefore, I think both has its right, but it goes clearly towards autonomous robots as a first step, and second, of course, new technologies will pop up, and also moving from the pallets to the bins, etc. This will also happen in the future, in the upcoming years.
Yeah, interesting. Let's dive a little bit deeper in the AGV and AMR section here. So you already touched autonomous versus automated. So what is the Linde strategy? Will you provide both types of vehicles? Are you focusing on one technology?
No, we do actually both. Of course, we also started as every material handling provider started. We first automated our manual equipment. So therefore, we had those hybrid AGVs. Of course, also at the beginning, customers were so they felt, let's say, they're more safe, or they felt better in having the possibility to still drive a truck manual if there's any technical issue. But this is like now moving towards pure AGVs. But of course, we are looking into that, and of course, everybody is also working on it. And step by step, we move into the autonomous driving. That's clear. And that's also together also with this NVIDIA case. Now this gives us really huge opportunities in the future, because on one side, it's of course the vehicle itself, but at the end, what counts is the software on it, and of course also traffic management. And the ones having both on a very high performance level are the most productive one, what finally leads to the best ROI at our customers. And this with NVIDIA, this gives us great opportunity to improve there heavily and speed up in improving our performance of the software.
Okay, that means the software topic is strategically very important for Linde. So what are your current hot topics in the software area?
What can I tell you? What I could tell you? I know, of course, software is key. So, and therefore, and as you can see, let's go 7 years back, when the AMR topic started. For example, everybody was even we started to develop an AMR, and we stopped finally because, and you can see now also you can see at Logimat, they fully disappeared because it's not a differentiator. It's kind of a commodity product. And you can get it from everywhere. But what for us is key is really the software. You need to have the software. You need to have the most performing software. And then it's no matter which AMR you're using at the end. And that's what fast counts, is really that we improve the software. And there, of course, also we have our trucks with VDA 5050. That's also something. We have other players in the market and partners. They are providing the platform you can integrate into, and that gives also the opportunity to our customers to have different for different areas, different specialists, because nobody can cover every single application, every single process. There are specialists, there will remain specialists, and that's why on one side, of course, looking on a platform, on the other side, looking on the onboard, offboard software. And thirdly, of course, bringing everything. What is when you think about telematics in the manual business, with all the different software products we have. On the other side, you have the ones for automation world, and then you have the warehouse management software. And this is what I said. This is key to bring all those different aspects together fully integrated, because this is, for me, in the next 5 to 10 years, that's the future, that you need to own the software, but you also need to have one common platform where everything fits together, that the customer is not facing different, let's say, tools, different touch point, different interfaces, that there's just one interface for our customer, and behind you have all different software working with each other. And I think that's now, because bringing those worlds together in manual and automation, that's something we are really focusing on.
Yeah, you touched, I think, a very interesting point, the integration part on the customer side. And we know from many projects that integrating these new solutions into an existing infrastructure, so typical brownfield projects, are challenging. So what advice can you give to customers who are willing to automate? How should they start? What are good practices from your point of view?
Of course, integrating into the systems of our customers is, of course, a challenge, because the customer environment, software environment, is always different. Therefore, we developed a software layer we can put in between to make it as simple as possible. But now, looking from our customer perspective, I think it's important for customers that really start with automation, that they really select, I would say, stable, repetitive processes, and starting small. They don't need to start big, and really get confidence and with the technology, because it's not different. It's different to 7-8 years ago. The software is everything is more stable. Everybody went through the valley with different, technology issues, etc. And also everybody learned. Every single player. It's more robust now. It's more standardized, and I think we don't have those obstacles anymore as we had in the past. So on one side, it's affordable, and on the other side, really, the customer should start with small projects. They can manage, but what is always important, it's not like just, okay, here I have something, please implement. It's very important that the customer has a clear view on what he's really aiming for, what he wants, and what are all the influencing factors on those processes. And that really, with the right partner, of course, in my case, would be Linde, but generally that you have the right partner you can trust, and you started at a very early stage to collaborate and really analyze the process, analyze the different influencing factor, and very close collaboration. That's different to everything else in the past, that you just order something. This is really a collaborative approach, and that's to be done. And then you learn, and I think there's nothing to be afraid of in automation. And then you can go more and more for more complex processes. That's my recommendation.
Okay, yeah, thank you for sharing that. And speaking about fears, and sometimes people fear automation as well, especially the current human workers. So how do you see the role, how will the role evolve of human operators when automation increases?
So on one side, nobody should fear. Of course, it's not everywhere the same, but generally we have labor shortages everywhere. So that's our general problem. And also, I just have seen yesterday that, for example, why China is automating that much, because everybody thinks like in China, there are so many people. But actually, China is running out of workforce in 15, 20 years. So they have their peak behind them. So the number of people in China is decreasing heavily. So therefore, they need to automate to survive in the future. And I think that's a very important thing, as I don't think that automation is taking away anything from anybody, because it's rather supportive to keep our operations running. On the other side, this brings a lot of opportunities in the future, to develop in different areas, because you need to supervise the automation, automated processes. You need to supervise the warehouse management system. You may even go towards troubleshooting, first diagnosis, because you run free shift, whatever. So I think the major task is that you don't need ever, for every single small case, you need your remote support, hotline support, that you can troubleshoot simple things on your own, and you do already the first level of diagnostics. I think that's kind of, this will change. So, and I think this really, the supervision, this also, let's say, simple troubleshooting, I think this is something that will evolve the future and gives a lot of opportunities. And also working with the new digital tools. When you, for example, what we said, you're working with the digital twin in order to improve also this kind of process improvement. This is also, I think, this will also bring a lot of opportunities in the future to develop away from the normal logistic processes, logistic workers. So I think, of course, there is always a fear in the here and now, but basically, I don't see it, and I haven't heard that there was always a change or replacement. I think it's rather always kind of, you get also more stability, and the labor shortage is rather, I would say, the problem to overcome.
Okay. Yeah, let's have a look on today's market trends in material handling. So from your point of view, where do you see the biggest emerging trends at the moment reshaping the material handling industry?
I would say it's not actually it's not on the hardware side. I think it's really now on this software side and the software landscape. I think this is something that will change. And I had a lot of exchange with customers, and really having this full end-to-end transparency of the material flow of the inventory, having the possibility to reduce heavily the inventory, increasing the speed of the flow, getting more lean, more cost effective. I think there we do see, and this together with the AI, not now manually adjusted in terms of improved, really AI driven. I think that is the biggest trend. And also what I've seen so in the recent month for humanoid robots on all that, with the automated picking. I think this is something, of course, it's on very early stage. But I think in 10 or 15 years, when we look back, I think today we cannot imagine how this will change, but I'm fully confident this will heavily change our future. But again, this is all driven by software. It's not the hardware. And having really this learning software capabilities. And as we know, so if I just think to myself, how we use AI tools and what they can do and how easy that is, if you really use it in your daily life. And this is something we need to use much more in future in development of new solutions, but also in terms of getting autonomous robots improving themselves independently from any human intervention. And I think that will change it. So it's all software driven. And I think this is really the key for the future. And what's now happening. Yeah.
So we will see a red Linde humanoid one day on the Logimat?
You never know. But you may see a red Linde digital twin, and you may see many software launches and innovations in the future.
Yeah. Okay. You touched a strong competition and many startups in the domain. And if you look on the Logimat, you feel that new companies are popping up like mushrooms there. So now Linde as this traditional company, how do you stay ahead of all of this competition, or are you collaborating with the startups? So what is your strategy?
It's so on one side, the Linde brand also stands for stability, customer relationship, and a partner you can trust and you always can rely on. And I think if we look on today's, let's say, projects we have, for many customers, it's important to have a reliable partner when it comes to execution. It's not that solution itself. So there's a lot of technology innovation, but the organization is not capable to implement that solution at customers. And I think that's something always that with a traditional company, we are not the only traditional company. There are other traditional companies as well. Even our company, we have other brands. And I think that's one asset we have. On the other side, I've seen a lot of startups at the Logimat, and a year later, I haven't seen them anymore. So, and if you look on the competitor landscape in the last 2 years, it increased from 100 to 200 companies. But I'm fully confident this will decrease to a reasonable number again. So they will be board, incorporated into bigger companies. They buy the innovation, they partner. The majority will just disappear because they will not survive because the go-to-market is missing. And maybe also the technology is not robust enough and not innovative enough. And therefore, I do not fear the startups. Of course, the startups are everywhere. But of course, it pushes us. We see new technologies with those. We also partner with some of them. We invest into some of them. But again, I do not fear the startups. I think that keeps us busy, that keeps us running on the right speed. And I like that competition, but I do not fear any startup, to be frank.
Okay. Yeah, there's a big buzzword around automation, which is dark logistics, switching off the light in the warehouse. And I'm really curious, what is your personal opinion on that? Will this happen someday, or will there still be light required for operations?
I think about that, we also were talking now 10 years about the light out warehouse. It already happens, but especially with our sister, with Dematic, where they do this whole, the huge, also the e-commerce warehouses and the fully automated warehouses, greenfield. There are some, yes, but still, I think there's a long way to go. And the question is also, it depends on the industry, it depends on the size of the company. So there are, of course, for bigger companies, there might be for central distribution centers, there might be an area where this happens. But of course, the technology will do that. And as said, with the right software and also in the future, the capabilities in having that on a self-learning and improving and status, I think that will happen more and more. But for us, it's kind of that's not the focus on our side, to be frank. So most of our customers, they are rather challenged in the third-party logistics, where they need to be flexible. They have 3 years contract. They need to have equipment. They can move to somewhere else. They're rather looking to leasing, etc. So this is, I think we need to have answers for the majority of our customers, and I think those customers, they are, in front of other problems and other challenges they need to overcome, and we want to help them to overcome that and need to find solution for them to have those cost-efficient solutions becoming more, let's say, stable in their processes, unindependent from supply chain problems, from labor shortages, and also on the other side, being flexible enough to cope with different economical situations they are in. And I think that's on our side the most challenging one.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, our time is almost over, but I have one last question. Yeah. If you could pick one of the many technologies we have at the moment, which is still in development, and you could boost it and it would be perfectly available already now, which one would it be and why?
I think you could hear or see the red line today. Having the environment to simulate the real life, what's actually with Omniverse, that's why we are so pushing in that right direction. And speeding up the development, because at the end, it's not the hardware, it's the software. And speeding really up the development, as we see with car manufacturers, and really before we go out there and really creating this artificial environment to test and develop our software, and at the end always get this feedback loop from the real life environment. And then of course also using this capability is also improving warehouses. I think this is, for me, that would be a game changer. This is for small, medium, big size customers. This will change, because therefore there are tons of opportunities that will open us for us, and I think that would be my dream, my wish, to have that tomorrow, and that would bring us really forward. All the rest will come anyway.
Great. Yeah, Mr. Schneider, thank you very much for this exciting discussion, and thank also to you out there for listening to this episode, and see you then in 2 weeks again with the next episode of the Automation Awakenings podcast. Bye-bye, and all the best.
This was another episode of the Automation Awakenings podcast. Visit us at automation-awakenings.com.